What is the key to 3D printing your very own Lego bricks that actually stick? Well, it's all in the stud. So what are the actual precise dimensions and measurements of the Lego stud? In the previous video of this video series, I talked about the nominal dimensions of the Lego bricks and plates and the fact that everything was originally designed around a module or basic unit. Taking 1.6 millimeters as our basic unit, according to this modular design, the stud would be 1 unit tall, which is 1.6 millimeters, and 3 units wide, or 4.8 millimeters. However, if you actually 3D print and produce a Lego brick with a stud exactly 4.8 millimeters wide, it most probably would not stick. Because that's just not how plastic building sets work, and that's not how the famous Lego clutch power works. So what are the actual dimensions? I did a lot of research into this particular question because this topic is becoming increasingly of interest to 3D printing hobbyists and Lego enthusiasts in general. The Brighton Toy Museum, along with others, used a digital micrometer to measure the real-world stud width of a bunch of Lego parts. And they found, as did others, that the stud was slightly wider than 4.8 millimeters, occasionally reaching 4.9 millimeters. If we're talking about the full width or diameter, it could be a bit misleading. A diameter of 4.9 millimeters would mean that the actual stud is pushing against the inner wall of the anti-stud by only about 0.05 millimeters. It is entirely possible that after years of experimentation, Lego found that this width, or one very close, gives the ideal grip or clutch strength so that the bricks and plates neither fall apart nor do you have to squeeze them together. While I did find a variety of answers as to the width of the stud, 4.9 millimeters seems to be the most pragmatic and well-supported answer. But there is still another mystery, the height. Once again, there seems to be some debate about the actual height of the stud, and it's possible that the height changed over the years. However, coming back to the original idea of the basic Lego unit, the stud should logically be 1 unit, which is 1.6 millimeters high. Just like with the width, the grip power of the stud also increases as the height increases. So it is practical to make the stud slightly taller. And on that note, some have in fact measured and found that the Lego stud is 1.8 millimeters. So which is it? 1.6 or 1.8? I would like to draw your attention to a certain illegal build. It is considered illegal by official design standards to place a Lego brick in front of the Erling Lego brick, since the stud on the side pushes against the adjacent brick just a bit too much. But the indent here seems to be no less than 1.6 millimeters, our standard basic unit, meaning that the stud here must be slightly taller than those 1.6 millimeters. There are a few other constructions I could talk about, but it seems to be the case that the studs are actually 1.8 millimeters tall. Please subscribe if you don't want to miss out on all of the upcoming content. Talking about the stud, there is just one more point to mention: the anti-stud tubes and hollow studs. If you think about a 1x1 Lego brick or plate, when you stack one on top of the other, the stud makes contact on all 4 sides. But what about when placing the stud inside the anti-stud tubes? If the tube were perfectly rounded on the inner side, the stud would make contact along the entire surface, really squeezing the stud inside and creating a very tight connection. The solution that Lego evidently came up with is these ridges on the inner circle, which you can actually see. This same solution was evidently also used for the smaller inner hole of the hollow studs. This is something you should definitely take into consideration if you're planning to 3D design and print your own Lego parts. While proportional modular product designs are appealing, The Lego system is ultimately designed around the idea that all the plastic bricks and plates stick together and come apart without excessive force as a kind of satisfying system of play and display. At this point, putting all the measurements together from this video and the previous video, we can now compare the nominal dimensions of the 1x1 Lego plate with the actual measurements. We've seen that instead of 8 millimeters, the actual width is 7.8 millimeters. The stud height would be 1.8 millimeters, whereas the plate height does remain the same at 3.2 millimeters, and that the actual stud diameter seems to be more like 4.9 millimeters. In the next video of the series, I want to go into more detail about why the Technic bricks and bracket parts used together are considered illegal on the basis of these actual measurements.